Hey, you got Jihaad Cam.
Welcome to the DY Proj channel. I'm your guy, DY Fly, coming live and direct from HQ. What it do?
This is culturally inappropriate.
That's right. The boys are back into pads. And we can finally make some real assessments on what's going on. Even though we haven't had much video to go off of, we've had a lot of camp notes and beat writers giving us the 411. So we're going to go off that and see if we can put the pieces together and really assess what's going on. So I got some miscellaneous things that I want to get to after that, but let's get straight into it. 10 burning questions that I have that you might have, but I definitely have for Eagles training camp. All right. Before we get started, hit the like button, get my likes all the way up. All right. When you step into a pimp's domain, make sure you wipe your feet off and hit the like button. All right. Shout out to Freeze. Anyway, question number 1. What is going on with Makai Lemon? What in the hell is going on with Makai Lemon? Now, he missed a lot of spring training. He missed both of the boys' trips that Jalen Hurts took the wide receivers and the quarterbacks on, right? He missed that. He came back for like 1 or 2 practices, and then now he's missing training camp. So I don't want to panic, but it's like, bro, you're a rookie. You can't make the club in the tub. That's what they say, right? We all know he's going to make the team, but I'm just saying, like, he's a rookie. He needs time to get these reps. This is a new offense that we're installing. Jalen Hurts is getting to know, and he needs people to be in their right place so he can trust them. And he says right now he's trying to earn the trust, but you can't earn the trust from the sideline. You have to be on the field. And we're going to talk about trust in just a moment. But what the hell is going on with Makai Lemon? That is one question that I have. We just got rid of one wide receiver with bad hamstrings and Ash Juice Brown.
Nigga, don't act like a...
And now we got a rookie that's having hamstring problems even before we start practicing. Now we use first round draft capital on him, and he's going to be forever linked to Ash Juice Brown, right? Fair, unfair. And this is the Philadelphia Eagles. We have expectations, Super Bowl expectations. And with Jalen Hurts at the helm, the floor is the playoffs, is making the playoffs. Like, I can literally go into a coma right now, wake up in January, and I know my Philadelphia Eagles, my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, will be in the playoffs. So I want him to come back 100% healthy, but bro, get it together. That's number 1. Number 2 is the second round draft pick, Eli Stowers. What's going on with him? He's been awfully quiet since we drafted him. A second round draft pick. He's buried in the depth chart behind Johnny Munt. You know, I'm going to say this, and y'all may or may not agree with this, but this is just one of my stances. And this is just me, okay, y'all? Y'all ain't got to take this, but this is just me. One thing that I always say is you can't trust these light-skinned ass receivers, okay? I'm going to say this again. You cannot trust these light-skinned ass receivers, all right? And there's always an exception to the rule. And that exception has played in the league for 77 years, and it looks like he's pretty much cooked. And that's Mike Evans, right? He's the exception to the rule, and it seems like he's passed the torch to JSN. But these light-skinned ass receivers, you can't trust them in the big moments. You can't trust them when they're supposed to show up. And you know what? Eli Stowers, you know, I hope that he gets it together. I hope, but he needs to learn how to block, bro. He needs to learn how to block, and it is what it is. Now, question number 3, if Makai Lemon is on the pine right now, who's going to step up to be that number 2? And I want to go to this play right here where you see Jalen Hurts throw to Don Wicks. Don Wicks might get a button, but Jalen Hitman Hurts.
The excellence of execution.
He basically... This was a test for Don Wicks to see if he could trust him. That's all that was. It's practice. It's a new offense. He needs to see if he can trust somebody else other than Smitty or Godert. And he just found that out. If I throw this up, are you going to protect me? It doesn't have to be a completion. We would like for it to be a completion, but are you going to protect me? If I throw this up into traffic, are you going to put the ball in harm's way and make it an interception and make it worse than what it needs to be? And Jalen Hurts found that out, and Don Wicks protected him. And today you heard that Jalen Hurts said that Don Wicks got it. You know, he got it. So he's earned Jalen Hurts' trust. So I think he's in the running to be wide receiver 2 so far. And if I'm being honest, I think Darius Cooper is probably wide receiver 3. Darius Cooper has the skill set to play inside and out. We've all compared him to like a mini AJ Brown, and he looks like it. He looks like it. He runs a little bit crisper routes, but he's pretty physical and he has a good catch point, you know? So I'm always high on Darius Cooper, and he's one of ours. So I'm definitely high on him. I don't want to hear shit about Johnny Wilson unless he's moving to the tight end position. We need to put that to bed, okay? We need to put that to bed. And Hollywood Brown, right now, I need to see if Hollywood Brown still got it, okay? He looks good in shorts, but when the pads come on, I need to see if he still got it. You know, when he was with the Chiefs and everybody else went down, he had time to be the number one, and he really didn't show it. So now he's here with us. He can play a lesser role, which is probably better for him, you know, but we need to see him play that role. We need to see it. So I'm hoping he can. But in terms of, you know, how we deploy these wide receivers to attack the defense, I'm good with Cooper and Wicks along with Smitty. Okay. And in one of my questions that we'll get to in a bit, I'm going to expose the reason why I'm good with those guys. We see here Darius Cooper. Let's hear what he has to say before we move on.
Some areas you feel like you've improved on after off-season of work.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Of course, got to get better. Just understanding, you know, the difference between offense in the NFL, offense in college, you know. And now it's year 2. You know, I got a year under my belt already by the grace of God, and now it's just the mental aspect of the game, you know. And I think just improving in that, understanding defenses and coverages and things of that nature, trying to improve mentally is my focus.
You had that one-handed grab the other day. Can you take us through that play? And
yeah.
Where do you feel that?
Yeah, down in the red zone, you know, got to have a situation. And, you know, Andy put it up there, and by the grace of God, I was able to bring it down. I don't think I got my foot in, though, but it was still a pretty good catch. So just really working on the fundamentals, get my drag in, you know, getting into my back, so things of that nature. The catch, that's just extra work. You know, the catch going to happen, but it's like what you do after that. Do you get your foot in? Do you get on your back? Do you do the fundamentals? So that's what I'm focused on.
Like Sirianni said before camp, that he mentioned you among one of the guys who does kind of dirty work.
Yeah.
Do you kind of take pride in that job, and what does that job?
Yeah,
what does the job description mean to you?
Yeah, whatever's asked of me, you know, putting the team before myself. Of course, that's what you do in this game. So whatever's asked of me, you go out there and do it 110%.
What are your impressions of the receiver room?
Yeah, man. That's the wide receiver 3 right there. Shout out to Coop. Does Howie go and get a wide receiver for receiver help? Now, I've seen some suggestions that we should have gone and gotten Stephon Diggs, and since then he is signed with the Commanders with JD5, him shaking his ass for TikTok, and Stephon Diggs. That's a perfect pairing, you know? It's a perfect pairing. Got a whole bunch of sweet, sugary, you know, rainbow guys over there, so that's good. But for the people who even suggested that we bring Stephon Diggs into the building, it's like, bro, do you not understand what just happened? We just got rid of all the estrogen out of the building by sending ass juice to the Patriots. Now we teed up. We got a whole bunch of testosterone in the building, ready to murk the league. Now you want to bring all that sugary fruit booty energy back into the building. For what? For what? I don't get it. Well, that's some real housewife of Atlanta type shit, man. We don't need that. Anyway, my point to saying this is Brian Thomas Jr., the Jags seem like they are trying to get rid of him for whatever reason, but Howie could try to make a play. He could try to make a play for Brian Thomas Jr. with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I wouldn't be mad at it. We know Keenan Allen is out there. That could be a play. Who knows? But we're going to see if Howie tries to make a move for another wide receiver. Question number 4. What cornerbacks will step up to fill the depth chart? Now, Jakorian Bennett, we threw him in the trash last year because he got real handsy. You know, don't leave your girl around him because he gets handsy. All right. There's an assault going on. But Jakorian Bennett, he has the athleticism, but I think he has a confidence issue in his technique. Now, if he has cleaned that up, then I think he would offer some great depth into this cornerback room because we're looking kind of thin after Mitchell and Woolen, right? So I think the next one up is Keely Ringo. And we've already seen what that movie plays out to be, right? So we don't want that. So Jakorian Bennett, we need to see if he has honed in on his skills and see if he can make a roster spot to fill out this depth chart, or else Howie might have to make a move. He might have to make a depth chart move. We see that Lane Johnson, he's been out for a couple practices. I'm not really worried about it because Lane Johnson is, you know, he's not just a veteran. He's like a super veteran at this point. So he's going to be physically ready. He's going to be mentally ready. And Markel Bell, that mountain of a man, he's getting reps right now with the first team. So I'm cool with that. I hope everything's good with Lane. He's been out for personal issues. But Markel Bell, you see him moving out there, and he don't even got the knee braces on, man. Usually a guy that size, he got the knee braces coming out of college. So that's good to see him out there. Question number 6. Who will emerge as the front runner for the safety position? Is it Marcus Epps or is it Michael Carter? That's what we want to know. Right now, I would assume that Marcus Epps is in the lead. He was solid for us last year. And honestly, you look at this defense, y'all. Come on, man. Come on. It doesn't need to be like superstarred out. We're already dripped out at every position. You see it. Grenard, Carter, Davis, Hunt, the Bald Eagle, Zach Bond, Woolen, the Kingslayer, Cooper DeJean.
Kingslayer.
Andrew Makuba, who's been making plays all over the field and who is the front runner for me as my breakout player of the year. And of course, Quinyon Mitchell. That's right. So look, man, we don't need to be perfect at every position, okay? Marcus Epps is solid, and I'll even harken back to one of the best defenses of all time, and that's the 2006 Ravens defense. If you know, you know. The worst player on that defense was Landry or Kelly Gregg. That was the worst players on the defense. Everybody else was superstars. Haloti Ngata, Bart Scott, Adalius Thomas, Samari Rolle, Chris McAllister, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. You know, they had superstars everywhere. We don't need to have a superstar at every position. Marcus Epps will be fine. He has solidified this defense. And WIP had a little segment, and they asked the question, how good does this offense need to be for the defense to actually carry the team into the playoffs and even make a playoff run? So let's listen to that.
Like, if we know the defense is going to be good, how like in rank wise, top 5, top 10, top 15, how good does the offense have to
Now,
be?
you mean scoring wise or yards wise?
Let's say scoring.
That's what I deal with. I deal with the scoring wise.
Yep. Let's say scoring.
If I'm looking in the scoring department, you know, if they can get 23, 25 points a game, I don't know where that would put them at, right? That would put them somewhere in the,
20th? 23 points a game? That's where they were last year, I think.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, the difference between 23 to 27, I know it's 4 points.
Is a big
but
difference.
how many teams are in that area? So I can see them in there. Here's the thing. If they are in the top half.
So top 16.
Yes.
Yeah,
if they're in the top half
Okay.
offensively. And I expect them to be closer to 10 than to 16, but I'll give them a little bit of wiggle room here. I think the defense is going to be so good this year. We're looking at top 5 defense this year, easily.
I agree.
With this team, that it's going to allow for this offense that may have some early struggles. New offense, new personnel, taking a little bit of time to sort of get to clicking on all cylinders. They may be a much better offense the second half of the season than what we see in the first half of the season. But I'm perfectly fine with leaning on my defense and leaning on my O-line / running game. Because that's what we're really talking about. We're talking about the passing game and whether or not it's going to be explosive enough to put points on the board in bunches.
And he goes on to explain more about why the offense needs to be top half of the league, and I agree with that. Which brings me to the running game. We've heard a lot of buzz around one Tank Bigsby, and if you've been following this channel, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you know this is a pro Tank Bigsby channel. Ever since he got traded here, we made note of it, and we applauded Howie for doing that. And with the addition of Sean Mannion in this offense, he fits this offense so well, it's not even funny. So my question, I guess this is question number 7, 8, something like that. My question is, how are they going to split the workload between Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby? That's what I want to know. Tank has been creating a lot of buzz. Saquon, I think he can go off for 12 or 1,300 yards. But if the workload is split 60-40, I wouldn't be mad at that. Because you wouldn't lose any efficiency by playing Tank more than it being a 70-30 type split. If we played a 60-40 with Saquon being the 60 and Tank being the 40, I think we would be just fine. And we might have 2,000-yard rushers, or at least, 1,000-yard plus and a 800-yard rusher in Tank Bigsby. I wouldn't be mad at that. Having a two-headed monster like that, yeah, man, I'm for that.
You asked me who the best player in camp has been so far. If it's not Jalen Hurts, I think it could be Tank Bigsby. Like, he looks really impressive. He's somebody where when he gets the ball and he gets a little bit of room, your eyes can't help but notice the explosion when he gets the ball, when he gets a little bit of space, he can really take off. He's tall, he's fast, he's good catching the ball. I mean, he's a guy that had almost 1,000 yards, I think, that one year in Jacksonville. So he has had some success, obviously, in the NFL. I think if they were to play a game tomorrow, and let's just say 30 running back touches for a nice even number, I think it would be 20-10. I think Tank is like going to get the ball in week 1.
Moving on to Sean Mannion. And there's a reason why I'm moving on to Sean Mannion. I think this was a couple days ago. Jalen Hurts was 6 for 19, right? He was 6 for 19 before, he came back and he had a couple touchdowns the next day. But he was 6 for 19. Now that tells me one of two things. Number one, the wide receivers weren't getting open. And, maybe the defense was just that good that day. They just shut everything down. Or number two, the quarterback was highly inaccurate that day. And that could have been the case. My question is for Sean Mannion is, can he elevate the play of regular wide receivers? We've had the luxury of having Smitty and Ash Juice Brown for the past couple years, top tier receivers at the time. But can Sean Mannion elevate a regular wide receiver, kind of like how Kyle Shanahan did against us in the playoff game, right? He took a bunch of Joes and they beat us at home. So I know Sean Mannion's learning on the job, but he is bringing this offense, and I know he wants to do what he wants to do. He has a vision. But can he elevate regular guys like, I don't want to say Don Wicks is regular, but, he hasn't been able to show what he's got yet. But a Don Wicks or a Darius Cooper, guys who aren't on a superstar or star status. So I want to play these two questions with John Ritchie because I felt like they were very, very good questions for Sean Mannion. He still doesn't know whether he's going to call it from the booth or on the field, but John Ritchie asked a really good question. I want to play this.
Sean, how long do you think it'll take you to feel comfortable in the play calling role? And what are your considerations as you decide whether to do the play calling from the booth or from the sideline with the guys?
Yeah, I think the play calling will be, even just the move the ball periods, we call move the ball where it's not scripted. You can I already felt more comfortable day 2 than day 1 just with the substitutions. I think what helps me is that I've received that communication from the play caller. Having played the position, I know what I wanted it to sound like into the quarterback. Calm, smooth communication. You're not frantic. You're not giving too much, but you're giving a little reminder. So I think I've really been comfortable with the communication of the quarterback, and then I think just our operation. We've had some things we got to improve operationally through the first few days, but these move the ball periods, these call up periods have been great for me, for our staff. I mean, if you're out of practice, you notice we all have headsets on, so it's an opportunity for all of us, even separated from the players, to think about, hey, who's giving down distance, who's watching for defensive personnel. So it's been a great exercise for me as the play caller, and then for our whole staff to really feel what that communication looks like. And then your other question is, we'll have some simulated practices, we'll have some simulated scrimmages in the game where I can kind of tinker with both. And I think through that, I'll get a good feel of what I want to do.
Okay, so John Ritchie, he asked a very good question, a question that hasn't been asked of Sean Mannion just yet, and I felt like we need to play it. We need to put some light on this. So let's hear what John Ritchie asked Sean Mannion.
Sean, how coachable has Jalen been, and can you sense the effect of the constant carousel of offenses in his experience? Every year a new offense, a new language, and does that impact the way you coach him?
Yeah. See, those who are tapped in with what the Eagles have done the past couple years since Jalen Hurts has been the quarterback, and those who are excited like John Ritchie, that is a great question. That is a great question, y'all. Hold on, let me play that again.
Yeah, I know it's a...
Sean, how coachable has Jalen been, and can you sense the effect of the constant carousel of offenses in his experience? Every year a new offense, a new language, and does that impact the way you coach him?
Yeah, I know it's that can be a challenge, right? Having a different voice, but he's been outstanding to work with. He's been super bought in, receptive to the things we're doing, receptive to some of the new things that we're asking of him. And the biggest thing with Jalen is he's so hungry. He really works, and he always wants more. He always is asking questions. He's a very attentive learner. And a capable learner, because like you said, he's had to do some learning throughout his career. But I think from my vantage point, it's really helped me and helped us as an offense because he knows how to take notes. He knows how to ask questions. and he's a studier. He works at it. I mean, he's the last one on the field every day, working on new footwork, working on new, play pass, actions. So I think it's been awesome. It's been a great partnership so far, and we're still in the beginning stages of it. And he's only going to get more and more comfortable from there.
Great question by John Ritchie. Again, I do believe in Sean Mannion, but at the same time, coming into this experiment, I was not worried about Jalen Hurts because I know his work ethic. Okay. And when he's paired with somebody that he trusts, then he's going to put in the extra effort to make sure it goes smoothly, at least on his end. All right. That's why I'm like, Sean Mannion, step up and keep feeding him as much as you can until Jalen Hurts says, yo, slow up. But I don't think that's the case because the defense has been winning the days, which I expect because they're in year 3 of a Vic Fangio defense and all these guys are just studs. But they haven't been getting the whole, beat down treatment of being stuck in a figure 4 and somebody coming off the top rope with a flying elbow. So I expect Sean Mannion to cook and to lead this team to the promised land. Our Lord and Savior, Sean Mannion. All right. Question number 9. What is the mindset of Nolan Smith? That's what I want to know. And the reason why I ask this is because the mindset that he had when we were on our Super Bowl run versus where we're at now, it has to be completely different. Okay. And the reason why I'm asking this, and I'm just thinking out loud, but you're seeing Jalen Carter, he gets paid, right? Jordan Davis, he gets paid, right? The Georgia Bulldogs, even Nakobe Dean, he gets paid. He's on another team, but he ends up in a good situation with the Raiders where he's the unquestioned leader of that defense. And I'll just say this, if Nolan Smith ends up getting traded either this year or, we let him walk at the end of the year, I think the Raiders would be a good landing spot for him, honestly. But I just want to know what's his mindset. And the reason why I compare the Super Bowl season to now is because it's easy when you're a young guy and Brandon Graham gets hurt towards the end of the season and he says, okay, I'm going to carry the torch, big dog. I got it from here. And then he goes on a tear and helps us win the Super Bowl. So that's one mindset that we know that he's got that dog in him. But now being the, I guess we want to say the odd man out of getting the bag and stand with the birds, what's his mindset? Because he apologized again. I don't know if he apologized, if this is a first apology or a second or whatever, but if this is still on his mind and this is weighing him down or whatever, look, man, you need to let that go. He was driving 135 in a 70 mile per hour zone. And, that is reckless. And as a young man, you cannot let that define you. Okay. But I thought we were past this. I thought he already publicly apologized, but I don't want him to keep going on an apology tour and, just move on. I need to know where his mindset is with that going on. And as far as everybody else on the defense getting a bag and he's the odd man out. So it'll be something to watch. And Jalix Hunt and the guy he's kind of competing for, Jalix Hunt, he seems to be the one that we've got circled to give a bag. So, just something to monitor. And the last question I got is Jihaad Campbell, right? We see him right here. Jihaad Campbell and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. My question is, has Jihaad Campbell shored up his run game fits? That's what I want to know because we know he is excellent at pass coverage. He is a freak of nature. Jihaad Campbell can move, okay? But if he's shored up his run game and where he's supposed to be and his instincts, he's let his instincts take over, then this defense will be number 1 in the league. He is the key to the defense. Now, why this matters is because Jeremiah Trotter, he is more of a IQ type player. He's a high IQ type player where he just knows where he's supposed to be, right? He's not the most physically gifted like a Jihaad Campbell, but he knows his assignment. Now, do we take the high highs with the low lows with Jihaad Campbell? Unless he's fixed the low lows, right? Or do we take the solid Metrodome player, always on schedule, always on time, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? That's what I want to know. So if Jihaad Campbell wins, which I think he will, and if he's figured it out, this defense will be the number 1 defense in the league. He's the key. All right. And there's 2 things working against each other. One is we know that Vic, he will play the best player. He doesn't care about draft capital. And if that player happens to be Jeremiah Trotter Jr., then so be it. But at the same time, we have to remember when we drafted Jihaad Campbell, when Howie went to Vic and he said, hey, we got Jihaad Campbell, they look like the guys in Goodfellas when they pulled off that heist.
Hey, you got Jihaad Campbell.
So that's all I got. That's my top 10 burning questions that I have for the training camp. Things seem to be going well. You know, we're still trying to figure things out on offense, which is to be expected. I've been watching on Twitter. Some people might be upset with Elliot Shore-Parks and his reporting, whatever. The person that I trust the most in that building, it goes in this order, okay? Number 1 is Jeffrey Lurie. Number 2 is Jalen Hitman Hurts. I said Jalen Hitman Hurts.
The excellence of execution.
And number 3 is Andrew Dicecco from Inside the Birds, okay? I trust their judgment over everybody. Andrew Dicecco from Inside the Birds, his analysis is clinical. He doesn't have any agendas. He doesn't seem like he plays favorites. And his player evaluation, we've kind of been aligned on some players in the past. So that makes me trust his eye, especially, you know, at certain positions. So Andrew Dicecco from Inside the Birds, I check in with them to really see what's going on. And yeah, man, of course, you got John Clark right here. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, day 2 here at Eagles training camp, and one of the great things you're seeing going on here is the offense and the new scheme and all the motion and all the deception, under center, play action, all that. It's really helping the Eagles defense. Cooper DeJean said it's even hard to tell whether it's going to be a run or a pass, and so it's really tough for the defense to identify what's going on, and that is great experience for this Eagles defense because, as Coop says, a lot of teams in the NFL run this new scheme that Sean Mannion has brought in, and we're seeing a really impressive thing going on with the offense. Dallas Goedert says, yes, it is the most new concepts that he has seen here with an Eagles offense. But the great thing is they are still going to use some things like Devontae Smith, what he does best, routes that Devontae and Dallas Goedert like. So they're not throwing away everything, but they're implementing a new offense that is really keeping the defense on its toes. And I think this rushing attack is really going to be so much different and better. Saquon Barkley says he thinks he could really be very good in this because of how exotic and how mixed up it is, but also how the run sets up the pass.
You gotta love it. All right. That's all I got, man. That's all I got. You see this? We got the over-unders. 29 touchdowns for Jalen Hitman Hurts. 2.5 or 3.5 interceptions for the Kingslayer Cooper DeJean. Andrew Makuba, my breakout player of the year. 4.5 interceptions. That's what I got for him. Devontae Smith, Smitty the Slim Reaper, over-under 1,250 yards. What y'all think? Quinyon Mitchell, 1.5 touchdowns. Is he going to give up more than a touchdown and a half or what? We need to add some more to this. We need to add some more. I would like to add Makai Lemon, but we just don't know. I can't get a feel on what's going on with him, right? Speaking of Makai Lemon, we got the DY Pride shirts.
This is culturally inappropriate.
That's right. Of course, we got the new Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Smith, the Babe-like t-shirts, right? They all got their own cleats. You see this with the two-tone cleats with Jalen Hurts, the light green joints, and then the Saquon silver joints when he went to the backwards hurdle. They got each one of their nicknames on the front as well. Jalen Hitman Hurts, the Slim Reaper, and 2K Say on the front, right? Then Makai Lemon, the signature shirts, all lightweight tees. I should have led with this, but all lightweight tees, they are $20 on the site right now, okay? $20. I know it says 25, but if you put it in the cart, it's $20. We slashed down the price to $20. So this sale is going through. Get your shirts, man. It ain't going to get no better than this. We got all types of shirts, all lightweight tees. All these joints are $20 until the end of the month, okay? So go get your, people want to be a part of an exclusive club, but they don't know how to be in an exclusive club, right? But I'm giving you some exclusive shit right here. This is Eagles streetwear where it's not over the top, it's not too loud, but it's very cool and it's exclusive, right? I only have 280 something subscribers, but first of all, shout out to them. They're 280 of the realest people on earth, but you can be a part of something exclusive. Get some exclusive gear, right? Zach Bond, the Kingslayer, Jalen Hitman Hurts. You can have some exclusive Eagles gear that's cool, comfortable, and people are definitely going to stop you. They stopped me, so go and get it while the getting's good. That's all I got. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go Birds.
Nigga, you going to get down or you going to fucking lay down?